So Cheryl Miller gives an interview and compliments Caitlin Clark, and she gets attacked. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
So, hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do. We're only six people away right now as we're recording this. We have 6 from 6,000. So we need your help. And join us for our live show, which now starts out with Caitlin Clark's Crossover. It's a forum like a sports reporter show. We have other guest podcasters every Monday and Thursday. And we talk about Caitlin Clark and women's basketball. It's at 6 to 7 on Mondays and 5:30 to 6:30 on Thursdays. And the live show continues after that. So everybody knows who Cheryl Miller is that's watching this video, I'm sure. I think she was the best player in college basketball history until Caitlin Clark came around. I think it's a toss-up between the two of them. And I also think she would have been the GOAT of the WNBA if she hadn't blown out her ACL right before the league was about to start. So she did when she was 26, she blew it out. But internationally, she led them to gold medals in the Goodwill Games and the Olympics, and she got 2 national championships, 3-time Player of the Year. Phenomenal player. She actually was a coach for a while too. So, and then she was a coach of the All-Star Game, as people probably know. And you can see, you remember the hug that Cheryl Miller gave Caitlin Clark, and you could see the warmth in the hug, and it was like it was almost like Caitlin Clark was reaching out to her. Oh, finally, someone on my side.
Right, exactly.
You could just tell by the hug, just from personal experience in your life, on how it was. Cheryl Miller talks about that.
Yeah, big thank you. Just a big thank you for thanks for being on my side.
Right, because it seemed like nobody was on her side. Podcast called All the Smoke, and it was with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. If you remember, Matt Barnes is the one that called out Caitlin Clark's teammates for not sticking up for her after she got shoved down to the ground by Kennedy Carter. So he does good interviews, Matt Barnes. I think he's the real force behind this this broadcast, in my opinion. But anyways, this question is not from him, from Steven Jackson, and this is Cheryl Miller, and let's see what she has to say.
You recently coached the WNBA All-Star Game. You spent some time with Caitlin Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
ever.
Being around Caitlin Clark, how was the experience for her? She's such a big star. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. To be around her, just talk about the type of person she is and how much she loves the game.
I'm going to be honest because it needs to be said. I could relate to that young lady, and I felt for her.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like to be hated. I know what it's like to be a Black woman and hated because of my color.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despise.
Mm-hmm.
And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't the truth.
Right.
Let's
stop it right there, Mark. Yeah, let's stop it there, Mark.
Let's stop it right there. Go ahead. You want to say something about what she said? I have a couple things. Go ahead.
Yeah, just right off the bat, she already knows, she recognizes, she's seen Caitlin Clark play, and she knows she's a great person, a great player. And she also recognizes what she alluded to is about, it has to be race. Well, not just being a woman, but being the race of a woman. So she knows how she feels. So she can relate to what was happening to her. And then she also, at the end here, she's mentioning, with the little undercurrents that Caitlin got through and that she had to deal with.
There's a couple of things that stood out to me, Rob. One is she definitely implied that Caitlin Clark was being despised because of her race. She didn't exactly say it.
Right.
But she said it in half a sentence later after she said she was hated for her race and then talked about Caitlin Clark. So I definitely think that's what she was saying. So I found that interesting. She talked about Caitlin being cocky, and for a good reason. I don't think Caitlin has been cocky in the WNBA, Rob. That's just me. I think she was when she was like junior and senior in college, a little bit. But I didn't see that. I think WNBA, she was just trying to fit in. So she was trying not to be cocky.
Well, I think finally, which kind of was, we were kind of pushing with her. She was being too passive and taking the high road. So I think near the end, though, Mark, I thought she got back to where she, like Clark got her groove on at the end, because she turned to herself. She's like, and she started being a little more cockier near the end at the end near the season. And I think that's like Cheryl Miller said, that's a good thing, because that's who she is.
Right. No, she was a little bit at the end of the season, like with the Seattle Storm, where she was trying to get the crowd going and stuff like that, a little bit. But overall, I just didn't see her as being cocky in the WNBA, because I think she was just didn't want people to hate her even more. So she was purposely not being cocky, purposely not even being what she wanted to be, which is always trying to be fun when she plays basketball. I think she was just trying to get through the season and just
right, and then,
figure it all out.
And then near the end, she finally like you and I would be like, forget this, I don't really care now. I'm gonna be myself. I don't care what they say.
Right. So let's go on with the interview, because it's really good what she says.
Right.
And Angel and her got along so well, and watching them practice. And just get it. And Caitlin's like, just fly, and watching her pass. And
and you didn't tell me you were going to ask me this question. We were making a video, and you said, let me ask you a question, because the All-Star game was coming up. What do you think? You think Caitlin Clark's going to pass to Angel Reese?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't, because they don't kind of like each other. And I said immediately, this is on video, I said, Caitlin Clark doesn't care. She just wants to win. She just wants to play ball. And this backs up what I said. I mean, you saw in the All-Star game, she made a great pass to her and said, go, 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 and she got the rebound. But this backs up what I just said, that when you asked me that question, and you agreed with me that you didn't think she was going to care either, but you asked the question. And she agrees with us in terms of what happened. But here we go. Let's continue.
Didn't know how talented she was and how well she sees the game in a 3D version. Thinker. Defensively, a lot better than I thought, and gave her credit for.
So there's a lot there, Rob. I'm surprised that it surprised her. I would have thought that she would see Caitlin Clark's IQ faster than we saw it, because she knows the game really well.
Well, no, I mean, I've coached All-Star games, and it's just only one game I coached against that player, or maybe I didn't even see that player, and they were on the All-Star team, and I heard about they played well, but when I got to coach them, I was like, wow, that it still surprises you, even though you hear about it and see it. It still surprises you to actually see it in person, and see them make the moves or make the passes. So it still surprises you, even though you know about it.
I can see that in person. After I said that. Well, in person, I can see. Well, you finally you notice some things that you didn't notice before in terms of what this person do. So you notice even more than you noticed before,
right?
In terms of her talent in her IQ. So, and then she talked about that she's a lot better defensively than she thought, which is what we've said before, that she's not a terrible defender. She's just not a good on-ball defender. But most of the time, she's a good off-ball defender. She's an excellent defensive rebounder. And so she's not terrible. And I don't know what she thought of Caitlin Clark's defense before, so I don't know what it means when she said she's a lot better than she thought. But she does get she was 21st in blocks, 4th among guards, and 15th in steals. So she's doing some defense, that's for sure. She's not an awful defender like people claim. So I'd say she's an average defender. Let's see what Cheryl Miller has to say about Caitlin Clark more.
So watching her and just spending a little time. And one thing, guys, that I've learned is to step back and let these kids be themselves. Look, I speak when I'm spoken to. I'm not sitting up there knocking on anybody's door, offering my advice, because I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be social media, Instagram this. I don't know what it's like to be bombarded and have to be the breadwinner in the family and be a brand and be worried about what I do or say and everything else, and 24/7 being pulled in so many different directions and not knowing. I mean, throw in the fact that if I'm insecure, if I've got my own mental issues going on, who do I talk to? I don't regret being born when I was.
Right.
I'm in the right place at the right time. It's just been fascinating to watch these young ladies come up and now take the baton
there, Mark,
and take it to a different level.
Go ahead, Rob. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with her because at my job I work with kids in their 20s, just a few in the late 20s, early 20s, and their thing is social media. And I like her, I grew up in an area where like you speak when you're spoken to, and so with the pressure at I think with the young kids with the social media, as you see in high schools and grade school with the bullying and then who do you? I mean, growing up, we had counselors. I mean, I remember my counselor, Mr. Curry. I could go to him and talk to them. But these young kids, I mean, unfortunately, they're on the social media and they talk to their friends. But who do they talk to if they have certain problems about their family, themselves, or even growing up? And growing up now is a lot harder than when we grew up.
I think social media does make it harder for them to grow up. And I think now they have an avenue to speak, but they can do it behind closed doors, so to speak, just behind a typewriter. You don't have to say it to someone in person. So it's a lot easier to say things that you wouldn't say to someone's face.
Right.
And so Cheryl Miller, didn't have to put up with that, she's saying. It's interesting. If Cheryl Miller was living in the time with social media, she would have gotten even more backlash because she said, I've heard her in other interviews say, what about you is misunderstood? She said that I was arrogant and stuff like that. I'll give you the background. When she was winning her second national championship as a sophomore, they were winning and it looks like she put the game away and she did a cartwheel in front of the coach, the opposing coach. Mm-hmm. And the coach happened to be Pat Summitt. And then Pat Summitt was the coach of the Olympic team shortly after that. And so the two of them clashed for a while. And the reason was that the cartwheel really stuck it in Pat Summitt's mind. So it wasn't she didn't play defense. It was because she does play defense. It was because of that.
Yeah, that would have pissed me off.
And Rob, and she would have gotten lambasted on social media if she did that. Some people would have said, because it was over the top. She blamed Cynthia Cooper a little bit in the interview. She said, Cynthia Cooper said, go ahead and do it. The games, we're going to win this game.
Oh, you can't blame her for that.
I'm just saying it was Cynthia Cooper's idea, but she did it. I'm just saying that's what she said in the interview. And that was in the really long interview that we talked, but we did a little bit of the video before. So I remember that interview that she talked about when she had this clash with Pat Summitt, because Pat Summitt said, you don't play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And that was her example, was the cartwheel. And she's right. The cartwheel is wrong. But most of the time she wasn't like that. But I remember hearing about that cartwheel the first time I saw Cheryl Miller play in the Olympics. The announcers talked about that. They talked about how she's a great player, but she rubbed some people the wrong way, and they mentioned the cartwheel. So that's why I remember it. So I always thought that was interesting. But social media right now, some people would kill her for that. So, anyways, let's go on.
She handled it in a graceful way as well. Some of your peers, they will recognize, her game, but they won't recognize her impact.
Right.
How can you separate the two? It's kind of hard,
right? And I used and Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. If you're getting hyped, yes. But she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I can't fault her.
Mm-hmm.
She was hinting, Rob, sometimes maybe more than you were. I think she knows Caitlin Clark put in more work than everybody else. And that's what she's saying.
It was obvious, Mark. That's what I was saying when they were jealous of her. I go, okay, you're jealous of what she's getting recognized. Get your butt in the gym and work at your game harder instead of criticizing her.
Right, Rob. Anybody can hit 3-point shots. You got to go practice them, though. Let's go on.
I can't fault her.
Mm-hmm. You separate the two. It's kind of hard,
right? I used and Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. Is she getting hyped? Yes. But she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
Rob, the other thing she said was, is she getting hyped? Yes. Is she really getting hyped, or is the media just following who's really popular? There's a difference between like false hype and real hype. This was organic hype. I just want to point that out with Caitlin Clark. Okay. Anyways, she went on. She said something here.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given, but
I can't fault her for what she was given. Now that I don't know what she meant by that, Rob. What do you think she meant by that?
She was talented. I mean, she was talented, but she still had to work at it.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, here we go.
I mean, look, as much as she was given, you can't tell me if that door would have swung the other way where she didn't live up to the hype.
Right.
Come on, folks are still waiting for it to fall.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yep.
So, with that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
Right.
Everybody now has an opportunity to pull up their chair and have a seat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing. And thank God I don't listen I don't follow social media, and I could really care less because I've been delivered from being a people pleaser and what you think about me.
Right. Me too.
But I will tell you
Hey,
one
also,
thing.
Mark,
I'm
stop.
just glad.
Mark, you can stop real quick. All three of them are like that. Matt Barnes, he's not my favorite player. He was a dirty player. He always started fights, but he didn't care. And Steve Jackson, he was his own person, and that's what she's saying. You know, she's her own person. You get to the point. I mean, even me in my life, you get a little older, you get to the point where like I really don't care what people say about me. I know who I am, so I really don't care.
These young ladies who are at the upper top, the upper tier players, I hope and pray that they have a solid foundation, and they know, guys, who they are, because you know how vicious it is out there.
Yeah.
She came out and said, "You big dummies." That's a pretty strong statement. She's basically saying you could have made this better for Caitlin Clark and made the league more popular, but you blew it. She's basically saying what we've been saying.
That's what I've been. Yeah, that's what I've been preaching, Mark. They blew it. They could have. They really blew it. They had it right there in front of them, and they laid back and they claimed that they didn't know this was going to happen, which was all lies and not true. You know, and they just kind of they wanted to make her. They wanted her to be like not the star of the league, not at all. But they got the profit from it, her playing in the league.
Right. And Rob, I'm not 100% convinced what she was given was talking about her talent, because right after that she said, if she didn't succeed, that would have been a problem. And I'm thinking she's saying what she was given was a lot of this attention and hype was what she was given. But I'm not sure, because right after that she talks about if she had not succeeded, people would have jumped on her case. She said she was given that. So I don't know. I'm not sure what she meant by that. I'd like to ask her.
Well, I don't think the hype was, like we said, the hype wasn't given to her. Just seeing her play, right there, she's a great player. So there really was no need to be hyped. So as far as giving, like I'm just relating to like her given talent, and then and what she was saying about if she had failed, maybe if she didn't really all that hard work. Sometimes you do put in a lot of hard work with something, and then it doesn't come out the way you thought it would come out to. So.
That's true. I think the hard work's going to show up this year, Rob. I think all her shooting numbers are going to go up in terms of percentage wise, and I think things will be better this year, and I'm looking forward to it. And I can't wait to hear more from Cheryl Miller as Caitlin Clark's career continues, like her analysis of her as a player and whether she thinks her defense is up to snuff now and whether it's improved. I would love to hear Cheryl Miller after every year of Caitlin Clark's career do a nice interview and answer some questions about her. So let us know what you think down below. And then Cheryl, by the way, I need to point out that she called out the players for, mistreating Caitlin Clark, and she got criticized for that by some people in the black community. And one black woman had a picture of a coon and basically called her a coon. And there was,
that's a direct, Mark. Let me just tell you from the black aspect, black point of view. It seems like if a black person criticizes another black person, then you're not on the team. You shouldn't say that about her. Why can't I say something about it? Why do I have to always promote black to black? They're not all, there's not always, I'm sorry, they're people, but I've been around up and down. I've been around a lot of blacks. There's some good in blacks. It's like in every color. So if they're doing something wrong, like you see these young kids going out and they're black, they're breaking into stores or they're carjacking cars, what am I supposed to say? Well, they're just having fun. I was young once. No, they're a bunch of criminals. They're a bunch of crooks.
I agree, Rob. I agree, Rob. So, anyways, it's crazy that she got criticized for that. She basically just called out what was obvious. So, wasn't like she said anything bad at all. I think everything she said was good. Anyways, hey, if you like this video, hit the like button and share it with your family, friends, and acquaintances. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we're 6 subscribers away, as we said before. So hit that notification bell when you do so get notified of our next video. And now Kate and Clark's Crossovers heads off our live show on Mondays and Thursdays, 6 to 7 on Mondays, 5:30 to 6:30 on Thursdays. And that's Eastern time, except for major holidays. We have guest podcasters. It's like a sports reporters type forum, and it's pretty cool. Everybody really likes it. So join us for that. And if you haven't donated to the channel, you can with super chats and super thanks down below and a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.